processing.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1013. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. Today, it's Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster, plus the return, and it's for sure this time, the MARKO Minute. Lots of sports stuff going on lately here in the Bay Area, and you'll get a specific Bay Area view of
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It all. Ooh, that just reminded me. I need to bleep out something that Marco said. He said a bad word.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And we have the clean label on this show. Hey, yesterday I talked to my cable company, and they were trying to sell me TV, and I said, no, all I need is internet. That's all that's important to me. I want some faster internet speed. And they said, yeah, okay, we'll give that to you. And I said, really?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
So now at home I have faster internet speed, which is probably like not worth what I'm paying
Mike's
for it.
Daily.
But the cable companies have got us in a vice.
Yeah.
And they're turning the screws and making life miserable for us. Thank you for that. Well, I think this has gone really weird, this whole thing with Orlando. Obviously, it was weird from the start. Omar was the name of the guy that killed all those people, and then he claimed that he had allegiance to all these different terror groups, which all these terror groups have conflict with each other, so there's no way he could have allegiance to every single one of them. This guy is obviously an idiot. He had been to this gay bar several times. They knew him. So he had gay leanings. He wasn't, let's say he didn't come to grips with it. He was gay, and he was mad at himself for being gay, basically, is what it looks like. And then he got mad at gay people, and then he killed them. And it's just horrible. This person, psychological extreme, wacko, nut job, idiot. Ugh. So that's something I just, none of us can really wrap our heads around it completely. Look who just walked in. Just say something nice, Benita. Sure. Hi, I'm Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
That's a disgruntled fiddle player. Tell you what.
What?
I'm really happy about your cable woes and how you were able to fix that. That's great. Good for you.
Thanks. You'll have to come over and not watch television because I didn't get television. Watch Netflix.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
No, we can watch a lot of stuff that the BBC makes.
Like I said, that sounds like a lot of fun. Trump is right. We need to fight the terrorists and throw them all back to their Islamic country.
No, that's not. See, that's obfuscating. I like that word. It's making this whole situation. It's clear this guy was an extreme wacko that didn't have. He was just a confused sicko, and that's basically it. Needed help, and in the end, who knows what would have helped him? I'm not a psychologist. Look who else just walked in. Look who it is.
Hello, Mike. Can't make the roof. I'm the Brewmaster. Oh, boy.
And we didn't talk about Trump yet.
Thank you.
Okay. Did we? I can't remember. The show's going by so quickly. It's hard to keep track. Oh, and other news, charitable donations hit the highest peak last year ever. So, isn't that shocking? So, when you hear your PBS station begging for money and saying, charitable donations were down last year, so we really need you to help, that's a lie. George Clooney's father is lying to you. Because charitable donations were up last year. Now, let's say, okay, so they did complain about one thing, is that the increase in charitable, it increases every year, right? But apparently it did not increase at a greater percentage as it's done in previous years or something, they complained about. Just like the drought people in California, no matter how much rain we got last year or earlier this year, we're in a drought. It's never enough. So that's the same thing. charities and water. It's never enough. And I'm kind of thirsty right now, actually. We'll just have a little bit. Is this your root beer?
Yeah, Mike, try some.
All right. Wow. It has some interesting notes to it. Notes. Did you throw some notes in this?
Yeah, Mike, I threw a couple notes in there. Oh, boy.
Look at that. Tasty notes. Thanks for listening to the show. Next time, we're going to bring you some other thing. Oh, yeah, we'll probably have Madame Rootabega, Valentino, Bison Bentley. But we love having you, Benita, and the Disgruntled Fiddle Player and the Brewmaster today. Thanks, Mike. I hate being here. Bye. This was fun. Oh, go to the website, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. It has the wonderful podcast picture. You can see... Oh, what's today's podcast picture?
And here's today's podcast picture.
Yes, indeed, it is Lake Del Val Regional Park. It's south of Livermore in the East Bay. Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful lake. It has some things going on with it. The blue algae situation. All our lakes here in the Bay Area are going crazy because of all the sun and not so much rain. And yeah, I guess there hasn't been that much rain. But what happens is this horrible blue-green algae blooms, and if dogs drink it, they die. Several dogs have died. So if you are a dog owner in the Bay Area, be most careful. Also, if you're a dog owner in the Bay Area, you probably can commiserate with me on the fact that it's getting a little irritating that people ride their bikes on sidewalks when there's so many bike lanes in the frickin' Bay Area now. So why are you riding your bikes on the sidewalks, bicyclists? Stop it, because you're gonna frickin' run into me if I'm walking on the sidewalk and let's say there's someone else on the sidewalk and I got my dog. There's just no room for you. But, you know, I don't want to tick off the bicyclists because, geez, what I saw on Friday night, I forgot to mention this, when I was in the Mission area, the Mission District of San Francisco, I think it was Valencia Street or Vallejo Street, one of those streets, there was a bicyclist that got cut off by a van, and he went off. Oh, my gosh. And he was like this probably 30-something white guy, kind of Jim Gaffigan-esque. And he's just, hey, man, what are you doing? Do you know what you're doing? Just imagine that, though, and a bunch of expletives thrown in there. And he just kept screaming, and then the guy behind the van, in his car, he rolls down his window and he goes, it's all right, calm down. Oh, that was interesting. Made my Friday night in San Francisco there were so many weird things going on. I passed by a funeral parlor, and there was actual funeral going on like Friday night at 8 o'clock. That was interesting. A bunch of people walking out onto the sidewalk in black, except for this one girl was in this bright green, which I didn't understand. And then everybody was watching the Warriors game and cheering them on. They won that game. Not so much last night. We talk about that in the MARKO Minute. So all that stuff is at my website, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. And the podcast pictures, past podcast pictures, past interviews I've done. If you'd like to help us out, there's an Amazon link. Click on the Amazon link and buy whatever it was you're going to buy on Amazon. But go through my website first because that helps us out. MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. There's also the PayPal if you'd like to donate. You'll get a special greeting from all the Cafe Anyway characters. It's all there at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. And now, hey, we got Marco here for the MARKO Minute.
What's going on, Mike?
You've been busy.
I have been. Very busy. No sleep involved.
What? Now, it's all these playoffs and things.
Yes. So I was at Game 6 of the Stanley Cup final on Sunday.
Wow.
At the SAP Center in San Jose, or as we all like to call it, the Shark Tank. So, and unfortunately, the Pittsburgh Penguins ended up clinching.
The Pittsburgh Penguins?
Pittsburgh Penguins, yes. They're called the Penguins. And
Pittsburgh, Bo?
Yeah, Pittsburgh, or I was like, is it okay to swear here on this podcast?
I just have to hit F8.
Okay. Well, I like to call them Pittsburgh Penguins, so...
Very creative.
Thank you. So they clinched. They won 3-1. It was very heartbreaking. Having to watch them celebrate on the Sharks' ice like that just was like, it killed me. It really killed me. And then having to go interview the players afterwards, it was like you could just see the disappointment in their faces, or on their faces, should I say? And I did everything to like not break down at that point because it was hard. And then the cool thing was I got to go on the ice. First time I ever actually been on SAP Center's ice. And I got to interview one of my favorite players growing up when I first got into hockey back in the early 90s was MARKO Minute. He's now the owner. One of the owners of the Penguins.
Wow!
He was their big star player back in the early '90s. He actually would have, I think, broken all of Wayne Gretzky's records had he not gotten Hodgkin's lymphoma, which put a big dent into his career. I would say he lost 2-3 years of it because of that.
Did you know I met Wayne Gretzky once?
I did not know that.
It was after a Bryan Adams concert.
Really?
In the early 90s, and my friend's like, hey, let's wait. This is down in Southern California, outside of the Forum.
Well, Irvine Meadows, then was, of course, Irvine, then you had the Forum, which is in Inglewood. Which one were you
Inglewood.
At? So you're at the Forum.
That's where I was. I was at the Forum, and we had just seen Bryan Adams. The Storm opened for them, which featured two of the members of Journey, not Steve Perry, but like Greg Raleigh and Ross Valerie.
Oh, okay.
Greg Raleigh, I think, is going to be at our fair this year, the Alameda County Fair. But he, we're waiting for people to come out. Brian Setzer came out, who he was dating my mom's best friend's daughter at the time.
Interesting.
Who I grew up with. So when he came out with Christine was her name, I was like, Christine! And later I found out that Brian thought that was weird that somebody actually knew her instead of him. Because, he had been famous.
Ego.
He'd been famous from the Stray Cats.
Right, of course.
And then Wayne Gretzky came out, and he was signing autographs. And while he was signing signing his autograph for me, I said to him, because I just saw him on Saturday Night Live, and I go, you were like the best on that. And he's like, thanks, man. He like looked up at me, and he was thanking me for saying that. His wife was hot.
Yeah, of course.
Unbelievable.
Well, that's why he came to LA. That's why he was traded. I mean, he was at the time he was Canada's national hero.
Yeah.
And they traded him from Edmonton to LA because his wife was an actress, and so and then that just like left Canada with a huge void. I don't think they've ever really recovered since then. But So it's funny you mentioned Wayne Gretzky, but MARKO Minute was one of the first players I learned about growing up. Well, I can't say growing because I was already 16 when the Sharks came into existence, but just learning about hockey. He was the big player at the time. Him and Gretzky were still the big players at the time, and so getting to interview him on the ice just to say, this is one of my I don't want to say idols, but just one of my favorite players when I started watching hockey. It was cool to meet him, because I always wanted to meet the guy, and but never did. Now I finally got my chance. So that was probably the only good thing about being on the ice while watching Pittsburgh celebrate. And I got really close up to the Stanley Cup. I got a picture.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
I got real close. I got about 3-4 feet away because everyone was taking pictures with it. Because basically, everyone, all the players' families, wives, kids, parents, they were all on the ice, taking pictures with it. And I was like, well, this is probably my only chance I'm going to get this close to it. So I better take a picture of it right away, and I did. So. But still, very depressing. You saw me yesterday. I came in here very depressed. I was very depressed yesterday.
Yeah, it looked like someone died.
Yeah, well, the Sharks did. So, and then and I'm the type of fan that you live and die with your team. And so, a little part of me died on Sunday night. So,
somebody here that works at the station is a big fan of sharks in general, not the sharks per se, but the
ones that actually live in the ocean and chomp up surfers and stuff like that, right? Those kind of sharks.
Yeah, and he had a shirt on that had a cartoon of a shark, and the shark is saying Marco, as in like Marco Polo, like looking for the the person that he's playing, so he can eat them.
Right.
But then I saw the shark and the Marko, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is totally different on a whole other level. This is important today because of the way Marko feels.
Right. So,
but that's Marko with a C with the shark, and you're Marko with a K.
That's correct. So yeah. So now looking back, the Sharks had an amazing season. They really did, because no one expected them to get this far, especially in the playoffs. No one thought they were going to make the playoffs, first of all, and then to beat LA, who was the team that they blew a 3-0 lead to just 2 years ago. So they exercised that demon. Then they beat a good Nashville team. Then they beat a good St. Louis team to get to the final. But Pittsburgh were the better team. So I'm not even mad. I'm just sad.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you've been able to process it and work through the pain.
And the cool thing is, I got to see 3 Stanley Cup final games for free. It was awesome.
See, you got massive press credentials to do that. Yes,
and it's been cool. I've been doing that for like a good 5-6 years now. And so the fact that I got the hookup when people were paying up to $2,000 to go sit and watch this game, I got to see it for free. I got fed for free. They had a great buffet all 3 times, and the NHL took care of me. I love the NHL.
They gave you not only delicious food, but dessert, and everything. And
they also gave me 2 portable phone chargers for my cell phone.
What?
Yeah. Well, I took 2, but yeah.
Yeah. They treated you like royalty.
They really did.
I used to date this girl that was all into the San Jose Quakes, the soccer team. Mm-hmm. And she was like, well, I write a blog for them, so I get a press credential. And first off, I never saw her frickin' blog. Second, we all, I think once we got a free hot dog, she got nothing.
Right.
And you got everything, man. You got the whole. You were treated like royalty, and you got some recordings too. Yeah. Let's play them back right now.
Oh, hey, we're really sad, eh?
Okay, that was a sad Canadian. Do we have any sad Canadians on San Jose's team?
Yeah, we do. We have a few sad Canadians and a few sad Americans as well. Oh. Their captain of the Sharks is American, so.
Oh,
I know, but.
And then the Warriors.
Actually, you know what's cool? Actually, before I can go further, I actually found yesterday a video of me on ESPN's website that had me interviewing Sharks captain Joe Pavelski, and it was during my question when I said, will you guys be able to, look back on this in maybe a week or two and realize what a great season you guys had when no one outside his locker room thought you guys were going to go and do anything. And they had my question on there for a good 30 seconds. It was really cool that I was able to find that.
ESPN owes you several dollars then.
Exactly.
And for every time someone clicks play, they owe you another $50.
That's what I'm talking about. Let me just give me a free sushi meal. I'm good with that.
A free sushi meal?
Yeah, I'm down. Give me some.
You like sushi?
I love sushi.
Sharks do too, apparently.
They do.
They like fresh fish.
Yeah, they love salmon and eel and tuna. Give me that all day. I'm good.
And the Warriors played last night.
Yeah. This all started. Yesterday was Game 5 of the NBA Finals. The Warriors were up 3-1 in the series. Had a chance to clinch it on their home floor last night, but. Early before that, their star power forward, Draymond Green, who's the heart and soul, the emotion of the team, was suspended for 1 game because he had another flagrant foul added to him. The way the NBA the playoff system works is that if you get technicals and flagrant fouls, it's like a point system. They keep adding up, and once you pass that threshold, then you get suspended. So what happened in Game 4 was LeBron James, Queen James as I call him, he pretty much was fighting with Draymond Green. They both fell on the floor as they're both getting up. LeBron James actually tries to sit on top of him, step over him, and of course Draymond Green's like, "What's up?" So he punched him in the groin, and because of that punch, he got suspended. Even though LeBron instigated the whole entire thing. So the Warriors just didn't have their emotional, centerpiece. They didn't have their defensive centerpiece. So this guy's one of the best defensive players in the league. Draymond Green is, and so it showed, and that's why they lost. And I think it's all was fixed. I think the NBA wants this to go at least 6-9. They got their wish, and not 7 games, because the longer a series goes, especially the last series of the finals, the more advertising money, more revenue they get in. And so that's how I feel about that. The Warriors should have already had this series wrapped up already, but
All these advertising dollars, all because of a punch to the groin.
Pretty much.
That's how I feel about life. Life has punched me in the groin.
Several times?
Marko.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
But every time you've gone back up, though.
There's like the little guy from, what's its show? King of Queens? No, wait. Game of Thrones?
Oh.
Same thing. Dinklage.
Yes.
He's punching me in the groin constantly, is my life.
Oh, man.
That's why I have such a high voice. You know, I got to see the Warrior game, but I was up on a hill. I was over at Fairmont Ridge, and I looked over and could kind of see. It was so windy yesterday, they couldn't put up the blimp or anything.
Right.
It was like windy and gusty, and I'm like, there's no way they can put a blimp up, and I didn't see any helicopters flying over. So I was like, wow, the game is happening right there, but you can't even tell. There's really no... I just know because I talked to Marko.
Yeah.
What's going to happen next, Marko?
Well, we got Game 6 on Thursday. Now back in Cleveland. Draymond Green will be back for the Warriors. So I look for them to wrap it up and bring it home. And it'll be back-to-back titles. And
woo!
Yeah. So that's how I see it. You know. Yeah, I can't see this going to 7 games unless the NBA happens to step in. And I mean, they've been doing everything in their power by having the refs just call all these BS calls against the Warriors, and then letting Cleveland get away with like pretty much murder, especially LeBron. They let him get away with traveling, elbowing, putting his shoulder down in like a football player would, and you know, using it against someone else. They also let him get away with double dribbles. Just anything and everything. I mean, he's able to body people and foul them, and then they don't call that. So I'm just like, I've never seen someone just... a league just cater to some guy who's... I'm great, he's a great player, but come on, don't do that. Keep it fair. All I gotta say is keep it fair.
That's right. I feel this way about, like, work. Sometimes... like in past jobs I've had, people get away with murder, like LeBron, and nobody says anything, and they just. But you know what they end up doing? They end up tying themselves up with their own rope and hanging themselves with their own rope. Wow. That's what I'm saying.
All right, well, let's hope the Warriors do that. They put the noose on LeBron on game Thursday in Game 6 and bring home the title back to the Bay Area.
Well. Any other games, sports, or anything?
Well, the Giants, they're still continuing to do well. They are now 6 games up on the lost again Dodgers.
Wow.
A.K.A. Los Angeles Dodgers. And they're doing it with, like, you know, not a good bullpen. They're not doing it with, like, half of a lineup from AAA because all their outfield is hurt. So the fact that they're continuing to win with what they don't have, it's been truly pretty amazing. And it's funny because it's all been on the back burner with the Sharks and the Warriors being in the playoffs. So we'll see. Baseball officially begins for me once the Warriors win it all. Then it's baseball season for me.
That's then you can focus on that.
Exactly. So, but other than that, that's pretty much what's been going on here in the Bay Area. So I guess until next time, Mike.
All right, Marko. Thank you for that nice long Marko Minute. It was very insightful, and I learned a little bit about sports that I didn't know before. Thank you. You're educating me.
You got it, buddy.
Go Van Halen World Tour 2000. They were still
12.
together in 2012. They were touring.
Yes, this is they actually put out a new album. This is their album cover right here. It's called Different Kind of Truth. And so they put out an album, I think about 10 songs, and they went out and toured it. To hear Eddie Van Halen finally shred after all these years. I mean, Van Halen was the first band I ever got into, like back in 1983. And I'm just like, yeah, it was awesome to see that. And Diamond Day was one of my heroes growing up. And then they toured last year as well. They kind of did like a greatest hits tour last year. And that was amazing. I saw that twice. One at Concord Pavilion, which is a great venue here in the Bay Area. And then also at Shoreline, which isn't a great venue, but I was hooked up both times, so I didn't care.
I should say you're wearing a World Tour, Van Halen World Tour concert shirt.
Yes.
T-shirt.
This was from 2012 when they played at the SAP Center. So. And
David Lee Roth was singing for them.
Yes.
He's got like a toupee on now or something.
No, it's just really short now. It's not a toupee.
Oh.
Yeah. Because he's going bald, so, you know, he's
Is he trumping it? He's kind of like doing this weird...
Yeah, sort of, yeah. I mean, everyone's got pretty much short hair now, so...
Wow. Because it's the song Jump. All you need to do is jump.
Well, there's better songs than Jump. But even though that is the song they did end with each
Pretty
time.
women walking down the street.
Well, there's also, I mean, that's a cover that they're doing, but, you know. Roy Orbison originally sang that one.
Why can't this be love?
That's not with David Lee Roth. That's with Sammy Hagar.
Right now!
That's another Sammy Hagar, Van Halen tune. A great song, though. I mean, I like some of the stuff with Sammy Hagar with Van Halen, but when it comes to Van Halen, it's David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen. That's the band right there, Eddie and Dave. So
Panama!
There you go.
Panama! Thank you, Marco. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. David Lee Roth, Sammy Hagar, Van Halen. So many great songs to rock out to. I don't know why I can only think of Sammy Hagar's stuff. It's weird. But I am in the Bay Area, so he's from here. So, next show, it is going to be Madame Rootabega, Valentino, Bison Bentley.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!